What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Jack Vita Show. I am your host, Jack Vita. We are live from the studio. My sister, Laura Vita, is joining me, and we are in quarantine right now. No sports. How are you, Laura?
I am withering away. Just kidding. I'm doing okay.
Long time since you've been on the podcast. Almost 2 years.
Yeah, I've gotten the boot. I guess my last one didn't get as many downloads as we were hoping. I'm just kidding.
No, you got a lot. It seemed you didn't want to come back.
Oh, okay.
Seemed like you wanted a vacation for a little bit. But we're back. We're in quarantine. There are no sports going on right now. So it's an opportunity for the Jack Vita Show. Do a little different stuff. We had initially planned to have some March Madness content. If you haven't paid attention to the news, I'm very sorry. There is no March Madness. But we are going to have a little bit of sports movie madness today. We're going to talk about a sports-ish movie. In addition to Laura, we have two great guests joining me. Chad Votherine returning to the podcast. I think this is number 3, Chad.
Yeah, this is number 3, and hopefully many more to come. But yeah, I'm super excited to be back. Dude, it's been a while, Jack. What's going on?
Not much, not a whole lot. We're in quarantine, but we'll catch up plenty as this podcast goes on.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about High School Musical or what sports or whatever. Maybe I spilled the beans already, so I'm going to stop talking.
In addition to Chad, we have a fourth person joining. This is the biggest podcast episode we've ever had. We got a little bit of a Skype party going on. Astrid Soto, who is a journalism major at Texas Christian University. Astrid, do you write for the school newspaper?
So, hey guys. But actually, I did some work for TCU 360 last semester. Actually, me and Chad were in the same class. And so some of the stuff that we got to write was published online. And then I wrote for Image Magazine, actually. So not the school newspaper, but kind of close because It's like the school magazine.
All right. Well, the future is very bright in this room right now. We got a lot of talent.
Oh, for sure. I'm so excited to talk about High School Musical. I mean, it's honestly a classic. So I feel like Chad, I have a lot of things to say. So I'm excited to get the ball rolling.
Great. So today we are talking High School Musical, a DCOM classic from the year 2006. And everyone has seen this movie plenty of times. Laura, when do you remember seeing it for the first time?
Oh, man. The thing is, I don't remember sitting down and watching it for the first time, but I remember seeing all the commercials. And as Jack and I were watching it, we were like, oh, that was part of the commercials. Like, that part was in all the commercials.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to rewatch this movie. Brought me back to 2006. I was in 6th grade. You guys would have been 1st grade. Chad, 2nd grade?
I was in 3rd grade.
Wait.
Oh.
I believe.
You were in 3rd grade?
Wait, let's see. No.
What year are you?
I graduated class in
Chad?
2016. Wait, I don't know. I think I've been the same age for like the last 12 years. So maybe I don't count. I was either in 2nd or 3rd grade. I think you actually did get that right. I remember watching it in 3rd grade, but I don't know. I must have been in 2nd grade.
Maybe
well, no, because I actually watched it on the night that it premiered. I believe it premiered on a Thursday night. It couldn't have been mistaken.
It'd be a Friday night, right? That was when all the DCOMs would be released.
Either Thursday or Friday. I want to say it was Thursday, but I don't know. It's been a weird 12 years because I haven't really changed age. So
14 years.
That could be. Yeah, it's been weird. Yeah. But no, I do remember watching it the night it did premiere on Disney Channel, and one of probably a top 20 night of my life, if we're being honest. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was, they used to release them on a Friday night. Saturday night they would replay it, and it would be they would have it on back-to-back on a Friday night, so it would be the East Coast would watch it, and then they have a West Coast version in case you missed it. Yeah, back before everyone had DVR and you just record it. It was in that weird era in between DVR and recording on a VHS tape.
Those are the good days before the digital era, which is the new wave that we're in.
Penny wave.
So this is a great movie, all-time classic. Was really fun to go back in time, and we got a lot to talk about today. Let's just go around the horn here as we get started. I want to hear everyone's favorite musical number from this film. I'll start with you, Laura.
Oh, wait, come back to me. Start with Astrid.
Oh, so as I was watching, a little highlight reel, I was reminded of when Troy and Gabriella met. So I'm going to have to say that New Year's Eve number, the start of something new, that one.
Oh, yeah.
Is probably my favorite. I mean, that's just where everything began. So
Absolutely.
Just a classic.
It set the standard high for New Year's Eve parties.
It really did, honestly. And since then, since watching that, I have not had a New Year's party or been to one that has lived up to the hype. So
yeah, totally.
I don't really know. I think every girl deep down just thinks they're going to find their Troy Bolton at a New Year's party now. So just really the expectations are set so high.
At a ski resort.
At a ski resort. Exactly.
I know what mine is now. It's got to be Breaking Free. That's all I'll say. It's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, pretty solid.
Chad, you got any hot takes here?
I do have one hot take. First of all, Troy Bolton's a junior in high school? Or they're juniors in high school, I believe, right?
It's never really, is it? They are juniors?
It's never, because they're just in high school.
They do the summer movie, and then they'd have senior year. So if they're doing it like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right. So how do these high schoolers get to go to a ski resort in the middle of Christmas? Like, what? That was kind of. I guess if they live in New Mexico, that makes sense. But dang, they must have been off the chain in high school. I don't know.
Chad, I think they went on vacation with their parents, and they ended up being at the same ski resort.
You're 100% right. See, it's been a weird 12 years. I'm telling you. But no. Well, I guess so 14 years since. Yeah, it's been 14 years. I believe you said that. But I do love the start of something new because I think that's what kind of launched my singing career. Not my real singing career, but my social singing career, because I do like singing a lot, just around people and in big groups. And so that honestly was a big thing for me, because I think there's a part or a line where he mentions I sing in the shower, but in which I do too. But and that allowed me to
he does say that.
Be inspired. Yeah, he does say that. So
yeah,
and I honestly think about him singing that song probably once every 2 to 3 months when I sing. I'm like, wow, I'm kind of like Troy Bolton. So that's a huge one for me. Though, as a sports guy, Jack, I hope you would agree that I think Get Your Head in the Game is probably one of my favorite ones.
Ooh.
I think it's just great, and not to mention, Troy's best friend is Chad, so I would portray myself as Chad. I think his name is Chad Danforth or Danforth or something.
Danforth.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah.
Danforth. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. And so I would try to pretend that I was Chad in High School Musical Chad. So I would pretend to be Chad. And so it's between that one though. I think Get Your Head in the Game, and it's a tough one, but I think Stick to the Status Quo or that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So underrated. I
How
think
is
it's so slept
Breaking
on.
Free not making your list right now?
So Breaking Free is obviously a classic, but I feel like that's the mainstream hit of this movie, and I think we have to show appreciation and love to some of the other songs that were just as important, if not more important, because they led up to that moment, Breaking Free. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Chad, I'll address your basketball one. Get Your Head in the Game is actually one that hasn't aged quite as well for me, surprisingly. One of the things that's really weird, I noticed it when we were watching it last night, is he says, Coach said to fake right and break left. And as he's doing that, he's actually faking left and breaking right.
That's because
he's facing the camera or facing right. Okay.
Or it's because it's Zac Efron and he can't make a left-handed line.
He did not practice the left, but somehow he still gets scholarship offers. What? How do the coaches not see that?
He got better. He practiced.
My favorite, here's a hot take. I actually enjoy the Ryan and Sharpay numbers more than the Troy and Gabriella numbers.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an unpopular opinion.
That is pretty hot.
Yeah. I like the tempo of those songs. They're a little more upbeat, but obviously they're not as iconic as the Troy and Gabriella ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like the audition one. It's like what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Like that one?
Yeah, I
like
love that song.
Bop to the Top. Yeah, Bop to the Top. Is that one better for you, or which one do you think is better?
I like the first one, the one that you were singing, yeah.
Yes, good.
But I like Bop to the Top, too, because it's very different from a lot of the songs in this movie. And I also will say Stick to the Status Quo is my favorite song that's choreographed with a huge group of people.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, that was one of the toughest songs to choreograph in. I mean, because there's just so much going on. It's a huge setting. And in the cafeteria setting, there's a lot of like kind of obstacles that they kind of have to dance around and whatnot. That one was really hard to compose, but they did a good job, I think.
Yeah, yesterday we watched the making of High School Musical, and they were talking about that scene and Kenny Ortega, he talked about how every single person in the cafeteria in that scene like had their own little dance moves that they had to do. So somebody jumping up on the chair, like that was what they were supposed to do. Nobody was doing anything just based on what they wanted to do. And I didn't really realize that because there's so much going on, but it's all planned.
Wow.
That seems really complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very much so. So let's get into this movie. Let's talk about it. Laura, as you were watching that movie last night, I know you were taking some notes. What was one of the first things that popped out to you in that first scene of the movie when they're playing basketball in the ski lodge?
Oh, in the ski lodge, the mom comes in, and I just realized, like, how much bigger of a character the dad is in the movie than the mom is. And that's like, and the mom comes back in the next couple ones, but the dad, who's played by Bart Johnson, is just a key character in the movie.
Honestly, I barely remember the mom.
I did not remember her either.
Yeah, like I honestly don't even know what she looks like. I can't even put the pieces together. But I definitely remember the dad because it's like it's one of those movies that's like it's not my dream dad, it's yours kind of vibe. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I thought you were saying, like, he's your dream dad. I was like,
no. Yeah, I wish Bart Johnson was my dad.
He's my dream dad.
You guys should follow him on Instagram. He's a hoot. He's still playing up the role of Coach Bolton.
Does he have an Instagram?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, does he have a cameo, Laura?
I don't know. That would be great.
if you I'll look it up.
Okay.
And I can play a cameo message.
His bio is, yes, I play Coach Bolton in the HSM movies, annoyed face.
Yeah, and he always, in his videos, is like, Darbus.
Oh my gosh.
He really hams it up. It's a good worth to follow.
He posts TikToks.
Another thing I noticed was when they were singing the karaoke, at the beginning, they're both so nervous. But if you look around, no one's watching them.
It's like the more people that start watching them, the less nervous they become.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm reading up on Bart Johnson. He's actually married to the sister of Blake Lively.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Interesting.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah, I heard about that as I was doing a little research.
I feel like he would be somebody we should get on here. We should call him
Bart
up.
Johnson?
All right, so all you guys are familiar with Cameo, right?
No, I am not.
It's a site that people can pay celebrities to wish someone else a happy birthday.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Chad, do you know what Cameo is? You've seen it before?
Yeah, you pay like a certain fee, I guess, depending upon how big of celebrity they are, I think. I don't really know how it works, but I do know what it is. Like is it only birthday wishes or can you do multiple different types?
It can be anything.
Messages?
So okay,
gotcha.
Laura, what would you guess how much you think Bart Johnson is going for on Cameo?
$50.
35.
Oh.
Pretty good deal.
Wow.
He's for 35?
It's a great deal.
Here's what you would be getting if you got Bart Johnson.
It's Coach Bolton here. Remember me? It's me. It's Bart and Bucky. hi.
His dog.
That's my dog. Hey guys, I'm on Cameo. How cool is that? I don't know what it means or how it works, but all I know is I can record messages from my fans, my friends. So hit me up, guys. I'm gonna record a new intro one of these days when there's light outside and I'm not a creeper at night here. Until get your head in the game.
Well, he said get your head in the game.
So that's Bart Johnson.
Wow.
Said he literally called himself a creeper. That was kind of funny.
True.
He's a big character, but he does a great job in this movie. So yeah, that ski lodge, they say, hey, guess what, Troy, we're going to a party. I don't even know what kind of party the parents were going to, but they say there's a kids party. That is nothing like a kids party.
She corrects it and says young adults.
Oh yeah. Honestly, it felt like a youth retreat type of thing, like a karaoke night at a youth retreat for like your youth group.
Honestly, yeah, I kind of get those vibes too. It just seemed like, I don't really remember exactly what activities were going on around the karaoke, but I think any party that has karaoke on it definitely is going to give me youth group vibes for sure. So I feel like nowadays you don't roll up to like a frat party or something and see, two really shy teenagers doing karaoke together.
Or anyone reading a book like
True.
Gabriella was.
Gabriella was reading a book? See, these are the details that I missed out on.
Yeah.
Gabriella is different, though. She's a 5.0 student. Like, yeah, she's insane. So
she's the school's freaky genius girl.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
Dang.
Have you guys ever been in a karaoke setting where they just pull up two random people and they're like, hey, you and you?
I really don't think so.
Yeah, I've been in many karaoke settings. However, I've never been in one where it's two people. Like, usually 95% of the people are scared to do karaoke.
Yeah.
And so it's usually just the 5% that go up there and say, I'm going to sing this song, or hey, sing this song with me. But never two random people, though.
I feel like that's the last thing that a karaoke DJ wants is two random people, because they seem like they're always like, oh, we got a crowded list. We're going to get out of here soon.
Yeah, that's really random.
I definitely agree.
I think I'd be really upset with my friends if they pulled me up there to do random karaoke with a boy that I don't know. I just don't know how I'd feel about that, honestly.
And the karaoke guy says, someday you guys might thank me for this. That guy never comes back in any other High School Musical movie, Laura, does he?
They should have him be the guy handing out the diplomas in the third one.
That'd be amazing.
Should like officiate their wedding.
Yeah.
It all comes full circle,
Yep. I wish somebody would thank him. This is an official thank you to the guy who set them up. We owe you so much.
Thank you, karaoke DJ.
And so that we get our first musical number, and you guys all know that Zac Efron doesn't sing the songs in this movie, right?
Wait, what? Wait, he doesn't? I thought he did.
Well, do you know who Drew Seeley is?
Yes. Oh
He
my gosh,
sings-
the guy from Another Cinderella Story.
Yeah, with Selena Gomez.
Wait, he's
Oh my
actually
gosh.
famous for something other than...
Yeah, he's an actor dancer.
I love that movie. Oh my gosh.
He is the
Wow.
singer. He's Troy's voice in
No
the first
way.
movie. But then Zac Efron sings in the next two.
Actually, I feel like Drew Seeley and Zac Efron sound pretty similar then.
You'll listen now and you'll be like, oh yeah. Chad, did you know that?
No, I'm silent because I'm pretty distraught, honestly. That disappoints me a little bit. But looking back on it, I think maybe it's good. Maybe... I feel like Drew Seeley really helped out Zac Efron's career. So we should be thanking Drew Seeley. Or Zac Efron should be thanking Drew Seeley, I guess.
Really
but I actually did not know that. But I felt like I did hear something. I felt like over the past couple of years, I probably have heard something like Zac Efron lip syncs or this or that. But I didn't know it was him. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, I wonder how that conversation went. If they said, hey, Drew, we really want you to do the songs, but we don't think you're as cool as Zac Efron, so you're just going to be the voice.
Yeah. So I wonder did he audition for the role of Troy Bolton, I'm assuming, or at least...
We don't know, but you know who was considered as one of the finalists for this role?
Jason Earls. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you... 38-year-old brother of...
I made that up.
Jason Earls is probably like 50 now with like 3 kids.
50.
He was literally he was like 35 portraying a 16-year-old Jackson Stewart on Hannah Montana. That did not make any sense.
He's 42.
He's actually 30. He was 42?
No, he's 42 now. Ashley,
yeah, he was. I mean, he was in his late 20s to early 30s when he was portraying Jackson. So
who else auditioned?
So the guy who they almost picked, but actually I heard rumors that he was offered it but could not do it contractually because he was busy on Zoe 101, is actually Matthew Underwood, who played Logan on Zoe 101.
No way!
Wow.
I could honestly see that, though. I mean, I think Zac Efron is more iconic now that he has, like, Troy Bolton as his foundation, but I could honestly see Logan from Zoe 101 doing it, too.
Could you imagine what that would have done to his career? High School Musical was being spoofed on SNL. They're doing stuff on Mad TV. High School Musical was a phenomenon. These people who've been in this movie have been immortalized for their roles, and we only remember that guy as just the kind of bratty rich kid on Zoe 101, but he could have been a hero to so many people.
I feel like he definitely played himself by not taking the High School Musical role.
Yeah, if that is what happens, we don't know what happens, but he was someone they almost picked. I didn't know that guy could sing.
Yeah, me neither. What the heck?
I would love to know how much money Drew Seeley made for singing.
Drew Seeley probably really did not get paid a whole lot for this. I mean, that must really be a bummer, because I don't think too many people from these movies are getting a whole lot in residuals. This was a made-for-TV movie, but what they really got was the notoriety and fame, and Drew Seeley didn't get a whole lot of that, considering Astrid didn't even know that he was in the movie.
Drew. I feel like a lot of people didn't even know that he was in the movie. I know Chad was distraught.
I was very distraught. I mean, and yeah, to speak to your point in terms of the budget and I guess the pay of these actors and actresses, I mean, the budget was only, I think, like $4.1 or $4.2 million. And for like a made-for-TV movie for Disney Channel, that's pretty good. But at the same time, like just thinking about all the cast members, though, and the personnel, just they weren't getting that much from it. I mean, the highest paid were probably, I'm assuming, Troy Bolton or Zac Efron, Vanessa Hudgens, and maybe Ashley Tisdale. But I mean, other than that, like it was really, this is what launched their careers, which I think is more valuable than the actual value, like the money that they received from High School Musical. But still, I mean, it's very impressive what this movie did for the pay or for the budget as well as just being on TV. I mean, because you're right, like this reached not only the targeted audience of Disney Channel, but this reached adult audiences. So, and I can't think of any other movie that really compares to like the impact that High School Musical had.
Absolutely. Before we talk about that, I will mention Drew Seeley on Cameo. Laura, you want to guess how much he is?
25.
$50.
What? What?
Honestly, can someone get me that for my birthday?
In what world is Drew Seeley getting paid more than Bart Johnson?
I prefer Drew Seeley over Bart Johnson, I'll say it.
I just picture Drew Seeley's cameos looking like a cardboard cutout of Zac Efron with Drew Seeley talking.
But I think you don't know he had like a career besides this movie.
He like sings Happy Birthday with a cardboard cutout of Zac Efron. I'll tell you guys something. So actually the idea for this podcast came from at the school I work at. One of the 8th graders said to me last week, hey, have you ever seen this movie called High School Musical? And I was like, yeah, were you even born when that movie came out? And she was like, no.
That is nuts.
And her big takeaway, her big thoughts on this movie were she really did not like Zac Efron's haircut. She's like, he needs a haircut.
Why?
Well, okay, yeah, she does not understand that haircut was like the haircut to have.
It was.
And then I think I guess like a few short years later after that, maybe like 3 to 4 years after that, I think that's when the Bieber cut started getting popular.
Yeah.
I personally did not have the Bieber cut or the Troy Bolton cut, if we want to call it that, because he had the haircut before. But that every single teenage kid had that haircut. That was like the biggest cut. Teenage boy, yes, yes. Every teenage boy had that haircut.
I had it, but my hair was a little curlier.
Yeah, my hair is a little curly as well, and my mom and dad didn't let me grow out my hair, so I had the normal standard, all-American clean cut style.
Yeah, that was a big time. That was a popular haircut at the time. I don't think she realized that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What are some other thoughts you had, Laura, on the early part of this movie after they go to the ski lodge?
So when they're at the ski lodge and they're counting down to midnight, and they're like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and like they just, like look at each other awkwardly. I didn't notice until now that they were probably supposed to kiss in that moment, which made it like weird. I was just like, why are they looking at each other like that?
And that part confused me too, because it looks like Zac Efron is in the process of getting her phone number, but she leaves in the middle of it, so I thought he did not get her phone number. But then he clearly has her phone number when they're together in the classroom.
Well, he got her picture of her. They like exchanged their phones.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you missed that part.
I did miss that. But they fast forward, and he sees her in his classroom at East High in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he wants to know if that's actually her. So he calls the phone number, and then everyone's taking out their phones. And I thought this was really funny. I kind of wanted to implement this now in my study halls of just having a cell phone bucket that everyone has to put their cell phone into.
Party foul. Buzzkill.
Yes. I fully condone that. Everyone's been on their digital portfolios this entire time, especially being away from school with the virus and everything, and being away from work. And, these microcomputers that everyone has right now, they're toxic. And so I completely advocate that. I advocate that.
Well, guys, there are no cell phones allowed in study hall, so I could have a little cell phone bucket.
Detention.
In my study hall.
Okay.
And that's how you end up in detention. By the way, this whole detention controversy that we have, where Coach Bolton has no idea that they're in detention. Has anyone ever gotten detention in high school? We need to clear some stuff up here.
I have. Not after school, though.
Not after. So have you had after school detention, Astrid?
Well, okay. So in high school, my teacher accused me of plagiarizing a huge project, and it was one of our biggest grades of the year. And I didn't plagiarize it. I had to sit there and explain it to her, and she got upset that, I was right, And so then, me having a very short fuse, having a pretty quick temper, started giving her a lot of attitude and walked out and just slammed the door. And then she gave me a 0 on that project. She was the reason I got a B in that class, made me redo it, and then made me work every after school and before school textbook shift to return them. So that was my detention. And I had to do all of those detention shifts with the juveniles of my high school, which was really interesting. So
let's hope none of them heard you say
detention.
that.
What?
I said, let's hope none of them heard you say that on here.
No, don't worry. Even if they did, I honestly don't even remember their names or anything like that.
Astrid, your detention, you were sort of doing something similar where you were kind of helping out and doing stuff around the school like they had in this movie?
Yes, but it definitely was not sitting in a tree or whatever they're doing for theater. I wish I could have done something like that because I honestly really do like theater. but they just had me collecting textbooks, which was really awkward because you see everybody turning the textbooks in, and they're like, oh, why is she shelving textbooks? She must be in trouble. So it was really awkward.
Yeah, I got
Couldn't
detention.
really hide.
I got it one time. It was very similar instance that these students had. I was talking to a teacher after class, and after bell rang and I said something to her, just about the homework, whatever. And then as I'm walking away, she hears my phone buzz in my pocket, and she said, "No phones in school." And then she said, "You have a detention."
That shows Jack's age. Because in high school, we were always allowed to have our phones in the hallways and everything.
Even in the classroom?
Yeah, if they saw you, they just put it away.
So my detention was not anything like this. It was just basically you sit in a room and you read a magazine or a newspaper for an hour and a half or whatever.
Yeah, but it was really, really interesting. I mean, I think detention really just builds character,
Yeah, definitely. I only got it once. Another thing that aged a whole lot is Troy Bolton's cell phone. He has the old flip phone. You guys remember when those were cool?
Oh, just the regular flip phones, like a Motorola or something?
Yeah.
So I actually never had one of those. I had a Pantech, if you guys know what that is.
Yeah, we had one.
Oh, I loved those. They were so fun.
Prior to this, when they have the get you ahead in the game scene, where we're really introduced to Corbin Blue. Not Chad Votherine, but Corbin Blue. We'll call him Corbin Blue for much of this podcast. And Perfect. Corbin Blue says to Zac Efron, "Do you ever think LeBron James or Shaquille O'Neal auditioned for their school musicals?" What do you think, Chad? Do you think they did?
I could easily see Shaquille O'Neal auditioning for school musicals.
Shaq definitely did it. Like, he had to have.
I feel like LeBron was probably just so focused on his sports that maybe he did not. But Shaq, 100%. I think he definitely did. Yeah.
Oh, completely. Yeah, we're on the same page. I agree with you.
Just to speak on basketball, I don't know if this conversation or this topic is being introduced too soon, but Troy Bolton was the star of the Wildcats, and do you know how tall he is?
5'8"?
Yeah, he's 5'8". Yeah. He's like the best player in the state.
He's the point guard. It's all right.
Yeah, I had a friend who was like a beast in high school, but he wasn't getting any D1 offers because that wasn't going to translate to college. You can't be 5'8" guard at a D1 program. I mean, it's very difficult to. You can, but you have to be very athletic, and I don't think Zac Efron has that kind of athleticism. But in high school, as a point guard, I totally think that he can do that.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, I think later on in this series, like, he's getting offers from like California and Albuquerque, which I think was like big in the movie, I guess. But yeah, I mean, he's getting like big time attention from schools, and yeah, I don't know. He must have had the moves, I guess. Maybe we need to watch some more of his game footage, his game highlights.
Yeah, check out Huddle.
Corbin Blue always reminded me in this movie of an NBA player from this time period. You know what I'm talking about, Chad?
I'm thinking right now, but I feel like I'm going to know it once you say.
Anderson Varejao played on the Cavs.
Oh, yeah, yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You are so right. I've never connected that, but you are so right.
Something I was really curious of, and I don't think it ever happened. Do you guys know if Zac Efron, I would have loved to see him play in that celebrity basketball game they have every year at the All-Star break. I think that would have been great TV.
That would have been some great content. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't do that.
I know, right? I think he maybe had too much to lose with his reputation.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah.
You guys think Zac Efron is a good basketball player, Laura?
Okay, so I was thinking about this when we were watching the movie, because a few days ago I was watching 17 again, and in that movie, Zac Efron plays a basketball player. And so he's like, there's a lot of shots of him playing basketball, and I was like, I wonder if he was like a good basketball player or if he just had to get good. And in the like making of video, we saw that they would have their dance rehearsals all day, and then he would have to practice basketball for 3 hours every day. So he probably got better. I don't know.
It's kind of like when Charlie Sheen took steroids for Major League and he was throwing 85 miles an hour.
That's nuts. I did not know that. But I think he's probably comparable to your average basketball player.
What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't think he was fantastic, but I mean, he was. I think like for a high school team, pretty good. Like he definitely plays on the team. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and pay more attention to his actual basketball skills. So I don't know.
I think that if he walked into the TCU Rec Center and wanted to play pickup with everyone, I bet he could hang with everybody.
Yeah.
Drop a couple points. Yeah, I think so.
A couple points.
You know what? I'm on the same page with you guys. I think he looks like he's played basketball more than someone who has not. Like, he's not someone like that dude on The Bachelor who just steps in the gym and he just looks awful. Like, he's never...
Oh my gosh. Literally misses the ball trying to dribble.
Oh.
So he looks like he's played some, and I know he's been asked about this over the years, and he's always kind of said, like, I'm average. I'm not, I can hold my own in a game, but I'm nothing remarkable, which it seems that's the case with him.
Oh, for sure. Like, I definitely don't think that, I mean, maybe he played in middle school or something like that, and maybe a little bit in high school. I don't know exactly how old he was when he was filming High School Musical. But honestly, I just don't, He just seems pretty average and just, like, no real, like, amazing talent. Does he even dunk in High School Musical? I don't think he does,
no,
right?
No, 5'8", he's not dunking Astrid.
Yeah, definitely. There's no way. That'd be like if I could dunk, and I definitely cannot.
Like a 45-inch vertical to get up there, so. But you never know. You never know. I think one thing that I do remember is, so you know how they had the High School Musical movie made for Disney Channel, and then eventually, like, once it gained a lot of popularity in the following months, they had a version of High School Musical, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was like High School Musical, like kind of like a behind the scenes thing where so they would have these little like text box that would pop up throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's kind of like the inside jokers on Impractical Jokers.
Exactly. That's funny because I was literally thinking that it's same thing. Yeah, because I do watch Impractical Jokers as well. But they had that for High School Musical, and there's a part where when Gabriella goes into the gym while Troy is practicing, like, she makes a free throw. One of the blurbs was Vanessa Hudgens actually made this shot.
Oh,
so, yeah. I for some reason I remember that. I don't know how I'm remembering this right now, but yeah, I'm sure. I mean, maybe she even had to practice a little bit of her basketball skills, I guess, for that one scene. But yeah, 3 hours a day though for this. They're very serious about the choreography then. But I think honestly it paid off. Like, I think that made such a huge difference in the way, especially in Get Your Head in the Game and just some of the scenes from the game, that I think it definitely paid off.
They put a 3-man weave in Get Your Head in the Game.
Yeah, that was a great touch. I love that.
Oh, yes. So funny.
Astrid, we haven't really talked a whole lot about Vanessa Hudgens yet. Were you a big Vanessa Hudgens fan in this movie?
Yes, I like Vanessa because I feel like she just honestly sits there, minds her business, does her thing, and, like, gets the school stud in the end. And she's just, like, I don't know, she's so nice the whole time, and she doesn't have to do anything petty. And even though, like, Sharpay's trying to basically take her down the whole time, she just ignores it and she just does her own thing, which I think is really admirable on Vanessa Hudgens' part. And also, I just think in real life, like, just her in general, I really like her, kind of look up to her a little bit in terms of famous people in Hollywood. So yeah, I really liked Vanessa Hudgens, and she was a little bit of a role model for me when I was watching High School Musical in second grade.
We're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, her character, Gabriella Montez, so smart. Do you remember what they had, like, some type of math competition, or was it like a
Decathlon?
It was a debacle.
Decathlon?
Oh, dang it. What the heck is a debacle? I don't know why I just said that.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, what the heck was she writing on the board? Like, what
looked
are
like
they
chemistry.
solving?
Yeah, those were chemistry equations that
Chemistry?
they seem pretty normal in terms of chemistry equations, but there is one point, and Laura has memorized this whole movie, so I know she knows what I'm talking about. But when they find out, oh, maybe she'd be good at this, she's in a class, and the teacher's putting some equation on the board, and she's like, oh, that's wrong. Those equations were like Goodwill Hunting, MIT type of things. Those things were insane. I didn't know what any of that meant.
Is East High School just like a charter school of some sort, or is it a cat? Like, this math that they're doing is absurd. I don't know.
That's true.
Laura, were you a big fan of Vanessa Hudgens in this one?
Yeah, I loved her. She's great. And yeah, she's great. But you know who I wasn't a fan of?
Oh.
Taylor McKessie. Oh, man.
Played by Monique Coleman.
Monique Coleman.
I liked her when I was younger, but watching it back, I'm like, man, she stinks.
Yeah.
Like, she's not, like, ugh. Not it.
So what was it about her that really drove you crazy?
Where to begin? I'm just kidding. I don't know, like, Jack and I were talking about how, like, Corbin Blue, I almost said Chad, was, like, a good friend to Troy, and, like, he was trying to keep his head on straight, like, hey, if you want to take basketball seriously, you need to not be doing this thing, but then he kind of is like, okay, well, maybe he wants to do singing, whatever. This girl, Taylor McKessie, befriends this girl just to use her for her, like, smarts.
Yeah.
And then she's just mean to her when she wants to sing.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't seem to have any sort of idea of like, oh, this is important to this girl. It's just like, what can I get out of my friendship with her? How can I use her for my team? And if we need her to be so focused up. And I don't understand how her auditioning for a musical is going to somehow impact her mathlete abilities.
Yeah.
Like, I've never known a high school where you can only do one extracurricular activity. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, like with the Troy stuff, it makes some type of sense because it's like, all right, dude, you're missing practice. Like, maybe Chad's got a point. Corbin Blue has a point. You can't just miss practice and not really give your coach any type of idea that you're not going to be there. So I thought, like, he has some type of point. Zac Efron's story made more sense, but the Vanessa Hudgens one really, it seems a little far-fetched.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I was personally affected because I was in theater throughout all of middle school, and eventually, once I got to high school, I had to drop theater because I had planned on, or I guess like the high school theater department planned on trying to cast me in one of the first shows, but then I quit because I obviously liked baseball more, and so I was affected by a very similar situation. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it Troy Bolton style, but yeah.
How did your friends react?
It wasn't really a big deal. They were just like, oh, like, I understood. Like, they understood because I loved baseball, but I did miss theater. Like, part of me just like, I'm like, I wonder what that life would have been like, but it didn't work out that way, and we're good. Yeah. One thing though, to speak to your point on like doing several things in high school, Jack, I hope you've seen this movie, but I'll ask all of y'all, have y'all ever seen Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off? It's another Disney Channel original movie.
Heck yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I was waiting
Thank you.
to see. When you started to say that, I'm like, is he going to go the Eddie's $1 Million Cookout route? And I thought Laura was going to be the one that would bring up that great movie. But yeah, that's a great one. Laura, you have a take about that movie, right?
Yes. I love High School Musical. Love it. Like, a lot. But I think that Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off is the High School Musical before High School Musical. Because it's the same, like, plot line and everything, just without the singing. And for those of you who haven't seen the movie, he's a baseball player in high school, or he's in junior high, I think.
Yeah, he's a little younger.
But he starts to cook. It's kind of like Zeke in High School Musical a little bit.
I was gonna go there. Zeke, Zeke's character, he likes baking creme brulee or something like that. Yeah.
Creme brulee.
Yeah. I said it wrong, but hey, what? Yeah, I guarantee you the writers of High School Musical probably looked at Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off in inspiration to the character of Zeke. They have to be connected, I feel like.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were some overlap in terms of writers from one movie sticking on to the other movie.
Like, very similar movie. If anyone has Disney Plus, just go watch that movie and then watch High School Musical and you'll be like, what the heck?
Should that be the next podcast movie that we talk about, Chad?
Oh, yeah, I watched it a couple weeks ago. I will probably watch it several more times while I'm quarantined. So yes, please have me on there. It's one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I'm actually not joking. I'm 100% serious. It's like I reference this movie all the time. Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. No one, very low key movie. No one really knows about it.
Yeah,
but
a lot of people our age especially don't know about it.
Does Astrid know about it?
Maybe. Wait, let me look it up. Hold on. Wait. Oh, because it has that guy from That's So Raven.
Yeah.
Orlando Brown. Man, he's an interesting fellow these days.
He is.
So, Vanessa Hudgens is really kind of like the cute girl next door type of role in this movie, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sure. I agree.
But I gotta say, we haven't talked about her at all. We're talking about some of these characters. Sharpay, Ashley Tisdale's performance in this is really my favorite performance out of anyone in this movie. It's like she's a 10 out of 10 in everything, and it just makes it so great.
Yeah, I think she's really good at playing the mean girl role.
Yeah, and she's good at it, but you know what? She auditioned actually for the role of Gabriella, and they said, hey, we think you'd be better in this role. And on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, she was not a mean girl at all. So I think she's multifaceted, very talented.
Oh, for sure.
Speaking of Ashley Tisdale, has anyone seen that TikTok of her?
Wait, on Bart Johnson's profile?
Yeah, he did a duet. But she posted a few days ago her doing the dance to We're All in This Together. And so Bart Johnson's done the duet with her now, and he does the dance. And Vanessa Hudgens did a duet with it too, but she's drinking wine. She didn't do the dance.
Wow.
I love how on the TikTok she's literally just wearing a sweatshirt and a really messy bun and just doesn't care.
She keeps it real.
She does.
So I really wish, when I watch this, I'm just like, man, I wish she became a bigger star. If Mean Girls had come out a couple years later and she was Regina George, I feel like she could have been a bigger star than she has been. I know she still gets work. She's on Carol's Second Act on CBS, but I just thought she's so great in this movie.
I completely agree with you, Jack. In terms of critical performance, critical acclaim, I guess, performance, I feel like she had the best performance in the movie, and it's very hard to pull off.
Yeah.
And I believe she did get a spin-off movie.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm looking.
She
Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure.
Right. Yeah, I personally never saw that one.
No,
myself,
I didn't either.
But
probably on Disney Plus.
it probably is, but I mean, I guess it just didn't age as well. I guess her character, because I don't think the spinoff was for another 4 to 5 years until after. So that's a pretty harder timeline.
Well, do you guys remember where she went after High School Musical for 8 years? Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's Candace.
Candace.
Yes. Wow.
Can you do your Candace impression, Laura?
Mom, Phineas and Ferb are making a title sequence.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was just one of those Disney Channel for lifer type of people. So maybe she'll make a comeback on Disney Plus. That'd be great.
That actually would be great. Yeah, because I remember after...
She's on a show called Carol's Second Act on CBS, but she's not really she's just sort of a recurring character. She's not even in all the episodes.
Because I remember right after High School Musical, it was Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens who really became big time A-list stars.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they were, and I think especially because they had a relationship, and so I think that propelled their personal lives even more. But
showman.
I mean, yeah, the two of them, they were launched, and then as well as Corbin Bleu, because he ended up being in Jump In a couple years after that. So I mean, I loved that movie, but I mean, I think Corbin Bleu even benefited so much from High School Musical as well.
What about Lucas Grabeel?
Who plays Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't see him anymore, I guess.
What were you gonna say, Astrid?
He was switched at birth.
I said I just don't know what he's up to now. I'm really curious to see what these people are doing now.
Chad, you would agree with me, though, that Ashley Tisdale could have been... She had the talent to be up there with Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens and get into major motion picture movies and lead roles.
Absolutely. I think, I'm surprised that she was not in that, that same presence as Efron as well as Hudgens. But, yeah, she definitely had there. And I'm assuming she's probably content with her career. I mean, she's had a great career, and I'm sure it's worked out for her really well, but I just felt like she could have been such a bigger star.
So, Laura, what do you think about this Ryan Evans, played by Lucas Grabeel?
He's interesting. I don't know what else to say.
They're really a strange pair of siblings. Like, they seem like the type of siblings that would cuddle with each other.
Yeah. Like, in some of their songs together, you're like, what, you guys are supposed to be siblings.
Yeah.
This is weird. Like, what I've been looking for, that whole one. I don't know.
Well, Astrid, what do you think about this Ryan as a character? What do you think of him?
I mean, I remember, obviously having watched the movie many times. Honestly, he's just not very relevant to me. I think he might be my least favorite character.
You'd be hard pressed to find someone who he's their favorite character in the series.
Yeah.
Chad and I are big Sharpay fans. We like her as a villain, but he's not really a villain. You just don't really understand why he's there.
He becomes more of a character in the second one.
Yeah,
he's like I don't dance.
Yeah, he's really good in that one.
If anyone listening thinks that Ryan is your favorite character, tweet at us. We'd love to hear. We'd love to just get you on here. Hear your take.
I would love to hear just like the justification of why Ryan Evans would be your favorite character.
I'll tell you one thing. Ryan Evans easily had the most swag out of any High School Musical character.
What?
Do you remember the hats that he would wear? Like the crazy outfits?
Were they green?
He had all different types.
he had all kinds of crazy... I'm blanking on what they call those kind of hats, but berets? You call them a beret, Laura?
And I think he also had some fedoras as well.
He does. Yeah, he does. Yeah, that's right. When I was talking to that 8th grader, and she's like, "Yeah, Zac Efron's hair. That's just he needs a haircut." That was a style back then. And then she asked, "Is the hat a style?" I'm like, no, the hat was never a style.
Honestly,
that is, and they definitely did that on purpose. Like, I think he's probably more in the movie a social outcast. And I think the other high schoolers in the movie, I think probably would see him that way, but yet he was just such talented kid because I think probably of Sharpay because of her status in the school. So I mean, the hats I think just pile onto his actual character in the movie and probably how he's depicted at East High School. That's just a whole different world. But definitely not in style.
Oh my gosh. I just saw this article that says, on the topic of Lucas Grabeel, or however you say his name. Grabeel?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this article talks about how Ashley Tisdale and him literally hated each other when they were filming. And I literally didn't know that. They confessed that 10 years later.
I think how recent was this? A year or two ago?
I believe so because, so it said if that was made in 2006, the interview says, "It's been 10 years. We can totally talk about this. We hated each other."
That is hilarious.
I think I remember seeing that headline, but I never read the story. I forgot about that.
Just Jared posted it, so not sure I don't know how reliable that is, but there you have it.
Okay, another character that I'll mention is the principal of the school. And as I was watching it, I was like, is this like the actual principal of this high school? Like, why is he the worst actor of all? That's all I got about him.
You know, I was thinking, so there's that scene where we're really introduced to Sharpay and she signs up her name and she just writes in Sharpie, takes up about 6 lines, Sharpay Evans, in all caps. I was wondering, do you think it was like something Sharpay? Is that where the name maybe came from?
Ooh.
Maybe. Maybe they didn't know what to name her.
I think Sharpay is the name of a dog.
I think you're right. I stand corrected.
I stand corrected. That's what the teacher says when Vanessa corrects her. Anyway.
It's funny because they see the sign up later that Troy and Gabriella signed up for it. And you hear 2 very dated references. I think I've been punked. Maybe we'll get to meet Ashton.
That's good. That's some good content.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually looked up Sharpay origin and meaning of the name because it was bothering me.
It's a dog breed, right?
Yes. It's a girl's name of Chinese origin, meaning sand skin, and then it says the name of the glamorous mean girl in High School Musical is a euphonic spin on the dog breed Sharpay, so SHAR space PEI, a brilliant name joke skewering the practice of picking a name for its sound without considering what it means. Other examples, cliche or hooker. Interesting. Interesting.
So I love the stick to the status quo. When these 2 decide they're going to audition, they do it, they get a call back, and there's a stick to the status quo in the cafeteria, a very famous scene. And what I think is so great in this scene is you get to see some of these other people who have different types of habits that they want to tell. They have a secret. And one of them is a girl named Martha, and she says she loves the hip-hop dance. Guys, Martha looks like she's 30 years old.
Dude, Martha.
Oh my God.
Dude, Martha was a narc. I'm sure she was probably like planted in East High the East High student body to like, I don't know, bust kids for something. But she was definitely the narc, and then of course she got caught up in the musical, so she was like, well, I have to play the part. She was probably not expected to be there. She is definitely a narc.
She's 35 now. Martha
You guys want to hear
Cox.
something funny?
What is it?
Sorry, Laura. So I was in a play of High School Musical for this like random theater production place, and I played Martha.
How is this just coming to light now?
You're telling this now?
Well, now that we mentioned Martha, I decided to let it come to the light, but I've been kind of hiding in shame because they had me playing Martha and the narrator, so I don't really know how that really fed into each other, but I don't really know. I played both.
I love it.
That is so funny.
That's great.
So Martha would definitely be most likely to go TikTok famous if the movie was made now.
I could see that. She's like a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
I love to pop and lock and jam and break. Isn't that what she says?
Yeah.
You should know, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Just kidding. A memorable quote that was in all the commercials was like, "You ever think maybe I could be both?" Remember that one?
Yeah.
Troy's talking to his dad. You're the basketball player, not a singer. You ever think maybe I could be both?
The one scene that no one ever talks about, I can't remember the song, but it's when it's like really intense, and then I guess Gabriella goes up to like the plants or something, like that random like little outdoor plant thing. That's her, right?
The rooftop thing?
The rooftop.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's all those plants there. Am I right?
I think he's thinking of the song that Gabriella does by herself.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That rooftop is insane. Like, what high school what high school has that? I don't even know.
That
That
was
was
in the third one too.
Oh, yes.
And they do a song up there. But what's the name of the song that Vanessa sings? You were like, she kills the song.
Oh, yeah. She really kills that song. When There Was Me and You, I think it was called.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's a great song. Something that really stood out to me during that sequence, though, is there's a huge poster of everyone from the basketball team in it, including Troy. And I was like, what high school is doing that? Have you guys ever been at a high school where they put posters up of the high school athletes around the school?
Yes, my high school did that.
Yeah. I've played at other baseball fields where they put the picture of the baseball players, like they have like portraits of them on the fence, like on the baseball field, but never in the school, like never like inside the hallways or anything. I just feel like that wouldn't work. I feel like in high school.
Astrid, what were these posters like? Were you on any of them?
Yes. So, I mean, my high school had 6,000 kids in it, so it was a really big campus, and basically there was only one high school in my town. So basically what we do is the senior class of every sport would take a photo each year, and that photo would be printed out on a poster. And then all of the home and away games would be on the poster in small print. And so then there'd be like a flashy like tagline at the top. I think ours, my senior year, was redemption season because we had gotten so close to being state champs a few times, but we hadn't gotten it for soccer. So then we were like, redemption season. But my year, there were only 5 seniors. So we got to have like a full photo shoot, and then we got to pick out our favorite photo for the poster that got basically put around all businesses, all the small businesses in Allen and around the school and stuff like that. So it's
very
cool.
Texas.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yes, very Texas for sure.
Must be a Texas thing, like Friday Night Lights, the movie.
Yeah.
Haven't seen the show.
Yeah, but it was cool because they did it for all the sports, not just like football, which considering I went to Allen, like they probably would have just done it for football. But it was just really cool that they did it for all the sports, especially the female sports too. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I do think that's the best song in the movie. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I guess you're speaking musically, or like I guess in terms of the songwriting or the like her voice in that. Like that's probably the best song.
Yeah, musical performance. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like an amazing dance sequence or anything like that. There's no dance going on.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I would say very, very well performed song. I would agree with you.
So they hatch this plan right before that. They're trying to really break up Troy and Gabriella, keep them from getting to this callback. And there are a number of things that are kind of getting in the way here. They hatch this plan. I had forgotten about this, but they set up a camera in the men's locker room. And they film Troy talking about, oh, she means nothing to me. And then Taylor shows that video to Gabriella, and I think, again, this is where Taylor's true colors really are messed up here, where she's just like, oh, yeah, see, look at this. This guy's awful, and men are horrible, and that's like her big thing in this movie. Athletes are the worst. And then she says, all right, now you want to hang out? Like, what?
That's just a classic example of a super toxic friendship.
Yeah.
It's just
I think
insane.
Well, I've seen this live camera thing before in another movie.
Yeah?
John Tucker Must Die.
Oh
Anyone
my
familiar?
gosh, that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
Seriously,
there's a
so
scene
good.
where they video him in the locker room saying, she doesn't mean anything to me, like all this stuff. And so it's pretty similar, and they show it to the girl. See when that movie
try to
came
get
out.
her to get mad at him again so she can play him essentially like he played all the other girls. Great movie.
That movie came out in 2006.
Oh.
Same year?
Ah.
Is it the same year?
Yeah.
2006 was a good year for movies.
Someone Someone stole the idea.
Well, this came out in like January or February 2006.
July.
So High School Musical beat them to the punch.
Yeah.
But it was a very crazy plan. And you have to think that Taylor came up with this. Like, Corbin Bleu isn't sitting around like, oh yeah, we'll set up a camera, we're going to film him, we're going to make him say all these things.
I don't know. Corbin seemed pretty in on it.
He was in on it, but I don't think it was his idea.
But he was super into it when there's that scene where he has the 3 watches on his hand, and he's like, okay, it's go time. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think we can put it all on Taylor. I'll just say that much.
But I think maybe Corbin was only interested because he had a huge crush on Taylor. I get Monique Coleman's character. Yeah, I mean, he had a huge crush on her, so maybe that's why. But also, I mean, obviously his team was getting affected by it, but still, I don't know.
Laura, did you have a problem with Troy skipping out on his practices and stuff like that? Because I did. I thought that, you know what's interesting? High School Musical 2, everyone's mad at Troy for seemingly just being good at sports. And then this one, I feel like Troy's actually getting off the hook a little bit. Like, we as an audience are supposed to be cool with him not fulfilling his commitments.
I don't think I could have ever in high school, like, just not gone to a practice. Especially if you're on a varsity sport. No, there's no chance you can get away with that.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
You would have to run, or they'd kick you off the team or something.
Mm-hmm. The nerve that he had when there's, like, this one practice he skips, he comes late, and he's, like, shooting around, whatever, and then, Gabriella comes in and is, like, shooting around with him. How's that allowed either?
Yeah. That's so
I don't know. I don't think Coach Bolton is out of line for roasting him for that.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, especially when the coach is your dad. Like, why do you have to wild out?
As you're watching it, you're, like, supposed to be rooting for, like, Zach or Troy. You're
exactly.
Like, on Troy's side. Like, come on, just let him, like, play basketball with his girlfriend.
Yeah, I know, right? It's very weird. It's very strange. It seems...
Just let him skip practice.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. He's not even auditioning at this time. Why can't he practice according... I mean, if this is getting in the way of Vanessa Hudgens' schedule and his schedule, why can't they practice their singing at a different time?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I guess it's just for the movie conflict.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just so funny. These are things that only happen in movies. Like, that's just the way I don't know, it's just the way it works. I think it's really funny.
I think it's really funny.
Astrid, did you enjoy that scene where Vanessa Hudgens is on the basketball court with him?
I mean, I just thought it was quite ridiculous. I mean, I think personally in everyday life, sometimes girlfriends of athletes do some things similar to that just make me so mad. And that...
What does that mean?
It's just like, I don't know. It's just they, like, want their man to be, like, around always or something like that. Or they just, like, expect to, or they come to, like, literally every single practice or something like that. And I'm like, girl, it's not that serious.
I think it's a cute scene.
I didn't know Astrid was going to get so triggered by that question.
I mean, I think it's cute, but oh my gosh, it triggers me a little bit because I just know some people who, like, have boyfriends who are athletes, and it's just like, I don't know. It's like they, like, idolize their boyfriends or something like that, which, I mean, obviously, support him, root for him, but at the same time, like, he's not, I don't know. Like, he's still a person, not just an athlete. You know what I mean?
Do you think she was that, like, taken by it? Because it seems she was kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool.
No, I think she's just very, like, naive.
Interesting.
Which is kind of just, like, her character.
Yeah.
It's, like, one of her huge character traits is the fact that she's, naive. Like, she hasn't really been through that much in high school because she's just kind of been this, like, book nerd girl who just is really smart, and that's, like, what she's really stuck by. So I think a lot of the movie is just like various ways that she kind of experiences turmoil and trouble through the ways that she's manipulated by other people, you know?
Yeah, those are good points. The reason why I think Taylor is so twisted is, here's the thing. Chad, you might be able to back me up on this. Guys can easily say stuff like what Troy did, and they'd think, oh, you know, bros before girls or whatever. I'm not going to say that on this podcast.
Bros before girls.
You know, so back up your boys before your girlfriend or whatever. There's always that kind of pressure. And I think for Chad Votherine, not Chad Votherine, Chad Danforth, Corbin Blue. Yeah. I think for Corbin Blue, he might not fully understand how Vanessa Hudgens is going to be affected by Zac Efron's words. But Taylor is a girl, and she knows like how hurtful this would be.
Oh, yeah. And I think that was really Taylor's motive all along. Yeah. Just to hurt her and just being selfish in the way that she presents information to get Gabriella to do what she wants her to do, you know?
Yeah.
Well, we got to talk about the Scholastic Decathlon.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
How they just click send code.
Yeah. So the final part of this movie, we will gloss over. They changed the callback date to the same time. Again, this is so unrealistic. Why does the callback need to be changed to
Well, the whole thing was because Sharpay got in Darbus's head and told Darbus, you know, they're just trying to do this to make fun of us. And so she gets Darbus to schedule it at the same time so that way they won't be able to make it. So then that way Sharpay and Evan can get it, and then no one in the theater will be made fun of.
The theater.
So, yeah, then they schedule it all for one day.
But I just don't think that's realistic at all. Why would... I don't understand. Like, why would you do that at that exact time? I don't think that was very realistic, but we're going with it.
Yeah, I definitely don't know why... I don't know. Are you asking why would Sharpay do that in general?
No, just like why does Darbus... I understand why the movie explains it, but I feel like in real life, if someone were to say, hey, really want you to change the callback, well then, if I was Darbus, I would be like, well, why does Sharpay want to change it so bad? Is Sharpay committed? Maybe she can't make it on that day?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not totally sure why either. I'm not even sure why Darbus would trust Sharpay to change the schedule or whatever. You know what I mean? Or why she even trusts Sharpay in general, because obviously she knows that Sharpay just wants the lead role.
It has to be some type of, I got to get back at Coach Bolton because there's this friction between the two of them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I would have liked them to use that as more of a factor. Like, oh, yeah, you know, like, Coach is going to love this one.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more conflicting scenes between Bart and Miss Darbus.
I read an interesting fact about those two. Initially, when they were writing the movie, they intended to have more scenes between the two of them, and it was going to lead with those two singing a duet together.
Oh, they should have done that. That would have been iconic.
Can you imagine that?
That'd be nuts.
That would have been iconic.
So now they're in this predicament where the decathlon, the game, and the callbacks are all at the same exact time. So in the middle of the decathlon, Laura, you want to take it from here? Explain what was happening that you're bringing up?
Well, they had to find a way to get everybody out of the gym. So, like, Gabriella does her thing and, like, wins the round for them, whatever. And then they, Monique Coleman, Taylor, pulls out her laptop and she goes, ready for everyone to exit in an orderly fashion line or something. And then, like, just clicks enter and it goes send code. And it, like, sends a code to, like, take out the electricity in the gym.
She just clicks her enter button and that's it?
Yeah.
So funny.
And then the in this classic decathlon, the like some experiment like bubbles over, so then they all have to leave too.
Is that a part of the send code also?
Oh, maybe. I don't. They never really explain that.
Because that would just be weird that experiment would bubble over, you know?
Yeah, I would think if it was bubbling over, that would sink their team somehow. They'd be like, oh, you really goofed that thing up.
Yeah, true. Was it their own team? Or was it the other team?
I think it was their own team.
Oh, interesting. A little bit of self-sabotage, maybe?
Yeah. This Taylor is a real saboteur.
She really is. Is that a word?
No idea.
Yeah. It's a word, right, Chad?
It is a word. Yeah, I have my thesaurus right here. Hold on. No, I'm kidding. But wait, no. I've heard that word before.
Chad, do you remember any of this in the movie?
It's been a while, so not really. That's why I've been kind of quiet. I don't really remember it, but for some reason, just whenever Laura was explaining it, that I kind of knew exactly what she was talking about, and now I do kind of remember it. But I feel that's a meme of its own. Like that literally is a meme. I think that's so fun. I love stuff like that in movies, like just little random things that would never actually happen in real life, but it's so funny.
Send code. It's interesting that they evacuate the gym for. It seems just the scoreboard isn't working, or is it all the
lights go out?
Okay. So they're like, everyone out of the gym. I thought that was a little interesting. I don't know if they would actually take people out of the gym. I feel like they would be, everyone stay calm.
Yeah. I mean, why would people be panicked anyways? I mean, I get it. It's dark, but it's not like, there's the fire alarm going off or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, it seems like they originally came up with the idea for this movie. We were like, oh, we'll pull the fire alarm, that'll work. But then there's a plot hole where like, well, then why would they still be in the theater if the fire alarm is going off?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I feel like these kids would get expelled in real life if they figured out that they were doing this to the school. I mean, that's like, pretty criminal.
We have a running list of all the things Taylor has done in this movie. She's put a camera in the boys' locker room. Maybe she didn't set it up, but she had access to it and was streaming camera from the boys' locker room. She explodes something or does some weird sort of chemical thing in the decathlon. She hacks into the system, hits send code. Has she done anything else in this movie that's like very alarming to people?
Yeah. Has she done anything that's legal in the movie, or does she just like only does this stuff?
She's a little shady.
It's funny because her character, it's not like her character adds a whole lot in terms of, we're not talking about, oh, yeah, like it was really funny when Taylor said this, or she made this point, or she sang this song, or whatever. But the movie needs for it to exist, for all these little plot devices.
True.
She was very essential to all the mischievous things to go on. And I mean, yeah, she added the conflict, though. I mean, she was very important, but her character wasn't huge in personality, but just the things she did that be very critical to the plot.
Yeah, so in the end, they end up going in, they sing their song, it's great, everyone's rocking out to it. I thought it was really funny how they just have Kelsey, the pianist, playing the song on the piano, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the song, it sounds like there's a full orchestra rocking the place.
Yes.
We didn't even talk about Kelsey.
Yeah,
we'll have to talk to her more about her more in the sequel.
She is super low key. I mean, she's faithful, reliable character. She was a great character. She's one of the better characters, I think, in the movie. No one ever talks about her. Like, what is she doing from that performance after now? I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe she's on Cameo.
Maybe.
We definitely get to know her more in the sequel, so.
In the end, everything turns out good. They win the championship game. They win the decathlon. Everyone sings, we're all in this together in the end. And we're all really happy with this movie because it's just a great movie.
True. That movie is great.
Classic Disney Channel finish to a movie. It all worked out.
honestly.
Astrid, why do you love this movie? What comes to mind for you?
I mean, I love this movie because it's just a feel-good movie, and normally I'm really into action movies or horror movies, but usually those are super stressful all the way through. So whenever I'm kind of watching a movie that's like really stresses me out, I don't know, High School Musical is always something that I can count on to watch like right after that or right before that, just to bring like a little bit of a sigh of relief to that moment. I don't know, like watching High School Musical is always like a breath of fresh air, and I feel like it's just signifies so many people's childhood. It's a way for literally all of our peers to somehow unite in movie form. So I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
That is a great point, I think. I know in high school, when I would stay home from school sick, I would watch High School Musical 1 and 2. 3 wasn't on Netflix yet. But I would just watch every time because it just made me feel good, you know? Loved it. Mm-hmm. Still do.
For sure, for sure. What about you, Chad? Why do you love this movie?
I love this movie because I feel like it came at the perfect time when we were all relatively really young. And I think we just wanted to be Troy Bolton or Gabriella Montez. Like we all, like me being a baseball player, and I like you, Jack, like playing sports, doing all different types of things. Like we wanted to be like that. Like we wanted our high school experience to eventually work out that way. It didn't work out exactly that way. But I mean, still, like, I mean, that's what we wanted.
Did anyone?
To be like.
I think they lied to everyone and made high school look like it was this awesome. I don't think anyone had like this type of high school experience.
Yeah. I think in my head, sometimes I'd be like, man, like I can make a song right now, but I didn't, and I don't think anyone else would have joined me. So I chose not to, just for social reasons. But yeah, I think, I mean, you wanted to be that character, and I think it creates this world that you want to live in, and you're like, wow, like I want to be a part of something like that. That's why it was so good to me. I mean, that's why I still love it to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you love the movie, Laura?
Oh, I kind of already said, like, I mean, it's a feel-good movie, you know?
Totally. Yeah. Lots of reasons to love this movie. All right. We are running out of time, but I want to make sure we touched on everything that you guys wanted to talk about. So, Astrid, is there anything that when you were preparing for this podcast that you were thinking about that you wanted to talk about when it comes to this movie?
Honestly, I really do feel like we touched on everything. I mean, I think honestly, just when I figured out about Ryan and Sharpay Evans hating each other when they filmed the movie, I thought that was really interesting. And so, but we kind of touched on that, and we did, I feel like, talk about all the characters that I was wanting to talk about. And I even got to shout myself out for playing Martha in High School Musical. So pretty sure we covered everything.
Awesome. What about you, Chad? I feel like you had something else you wanted to talk about that we haven't touched on yet.
Oh, you're exactly right. So we talked about Zac Efron's basketball skills in real life and versus him like preparing for it and everything. So obviously his character, he portrays a star basketball player. Well, 3 years later, Zac Efron again is the star. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but 17 again, about a high school basketball phenom.
I think I mentioned that one earlier.
Yeah, Laura did.
You did? Well, maybe that probably just flew over my head. But I mean, again, his skills are there, and like I don't know if they're amazing, but they're good enough for him to get the role, which we must applaud him. And being 5'8" and being the star of 2 high school basketball teams, very impressive. Yeah, very impressive. I would be interested in doing a sequel show for this
High School Reunion.
High School Reunion, yes. Well, I mean, like for us, to do another podcast on on High School Musical 2 or 3, or I personally have not seen the Disney Plus series.
I thought you were suggesting that they make another High School Musical movie with all the original characters and they call it High School Reunion.
Well, I am suggesting that as well, but yes.
Chad, I thought for certain, Laura and I thought for certain you were going to talk about Kenny Ortega when I threw you that bone.
Okay, well, I do want to talk about him as well. So do you realize how big Kenny Ortega is? like how much of a star he is.
How big of a star is he, Chad?
Yeah, so Kenny Ortega, he worked on tours with Michael Jackson. He choreographed. You're not gonna like this. Super Bowl 30. The Steelers lost to the Cowboys in 1996. Well, anyways, Kenny Ortega choreographed that halftime show. That was all Kenny. Did you know that?
Who was the halftime performer?
I don't know.
Was that Shania Twain?
It could have been. I actually don't know. I was trying to read up to figure out who it was, and I couldn't find it. But he choreographed that halftime show, and he is. Have you ever seen the movie The Descendants? Or it's like a trilogy. It's called The Descendants. It's a
new DCOM.
Have not seen it.
Yes. Well, so he's choreographed all that. He choreographed St. Elmo's Fire. He choreographed that. Do you know, I hope y'all have all seen this movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes, of course.
The big, yes, of course y'all seen it. When they're in downtown, the big dance, or like the kind of song that Kenny Ortega.
Yeah.
That's his work.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's...
Who knew?
Yeah, the fact that Disney Channel had this big-time, high-profile director in this movie, I think really adds to the value of High School Musical. And I would assume that a majority of the $4.2 million budget probably went to him. Or not the majority, but I think he was probably one of the highest-paid people in the production, I would have to guess.
Yeah, director and choreographer, I believe.
Yeah.
So did he do Camp Rock?
I don't know. It sounds familiar because I feel
bet
like
he didn't.
Yeah, I mean Camp Rock.
Probably why it wasn't as good.
Yeah, yeah. If he did, we would know if he did Camp Rock. I feel like so. Yeah, he did not.
That's why it's not as good. So, all right, guys. Last real question here, and then we will close this podcast. I know Astrid has places she needs to be. I'm sorry, Astrid, if we kept you too long.
No, you're totally good.
Okay, cool. Is this the GOAT DCOM?
Yes.
Ooh.
Honestly,
if not, name a better. I can't.
All right, Astrid, you're up first.
Well, see, I don't know. That's kind of a tough one. I want to say yes.
It's got to be the most iconic and the most famous.
Yeah.
I can't think of another Disney Channel original movie that was getting, like, Zac Efron is hosting SNL, and SNL is doing sketches about High School Musical.
I definitely think it's, like, a trademark of Disney Channel. Like, I really do think that when you think of a Disney Channel movie, like, one of your first notions is just to think of High School Musical. Is it my personal favorite? No.
What is your personal favorite?
I don't know what my personal favorite is, but I know it's not High School Musical. But I do think that I normally don't like movies that, like, everybody else, like, really, really likes, you know? Like, I don't really normally like popular movies. But I do like High School Musical in general. I think it's amazing. And I definitely do think it's an iconic movie, obviously, you know?
All right, Chad, you're up.
In terms of success, in terms of just the legacy that High School Musical left, yes, I think it is the GOAT. Now, for my personal preference, I would say High School Musical is up there, but we've already talked about it. Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off is my favorite, personally. But I think in terms of for the channel, for Disney Channel, High School Musical is the best DCOM. I mean, it had the most success. I mean, if you think about it, like, out of all the other DCOM movies, High School Musical sequeled into 3 different movies, well, technically 4. Eventually, this launched High School Musical 3 to be released into theaters, so it had box office money again. So, I mean, they made a ton of money off of High School Musical, and it all started with this movie. So, I mean, yes, easily the GOAT movie for DCOM.
I would agree. I think High School Musical is my favorite DCOM, and Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off coming in second because it doesn't have the musical aspect with as many hit songs. And then I would say another good musical that Disney Channel has produced is Teen Beach Movie.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's kind of like West
I
Side
actually have
Story.
not seen it.
So give that a watch. I'll recommend
I'm
that
shocked you didn't give a shout out to the Even Stevens movie. I know you're really high on that
gosh! Oh, how could I forget?
one.
Oh my,
Hey,
that has
like,
gotta be the best.
Other movie like Luck of the Irish.
Oh, that's a
Stuck
great
in the
one.
Suburbs.
Johnny Tsunami.
Johnny Tsunami or Johnny Capaala.
Yeah.
There's
If you haven't seen the Even Stevens movie, please go watch it. I beg you.
Chad, have you seen
So
that one?
Good.
yeah, I've seen it so many times. Such a genius movie genius plot for that show.
Yeah.
And that's a really, people don't realize that's a really hard thing to do, is to take a already really successful show and make a movie out of it. It's harder than people think. And because, you have to kind of veer away from the actual show plot, and you have to create this whole other thing that makes sense. And they did a perfect job. I mean, because I feel like the Wizards of Waverly Place movie compared to Wizards of Waverly Place was not as good as the show. And it's just very hard to do it. But they did a great job with it. I think, yeah, it's a phenomenal movie.
What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I think it is the GOAT. I was going to say that the Even Stevens movie, great cast. They got Tim Meadows in it, Dave Coulier from Full House, and
Yes.
they incorporate a reality TV element, which I'm always a fan of. So that's a great
Astrid, that's your homework to go watch Even Stevens movie.
one.
I have seen the Even Stevens
Good.
movie.
Oh, thank goodness. You're being a little quiet.
She's like,
I'm so worried.
finally, she's watched a movie.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I do think this is the best, just because, and me saying it's the best, you don't have to have a hot take on this. It's not a basic opinion. It's just a great movie. They incorporate musical elements so well. All the songs are great. The cast is great. Two of them are not super famous right now, but were a few years ago. I don't really know what Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens have been up to over the last couple of years.
Zach is supposed to be in the new Guardians movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, I mean, those guys have become, big time stars. You have a successful, great cast. It's directed so well. Everything about it is top notch. It has a great message. And I will say, you're a little younger than I am now. And so when this movie came out, you guys were in elementary school. I was in 6th grade. So that's the territory where if you watch Disney Channel, you're a nerd. Like, that's not cool. Even though everyone watches it, people don't want to admit that they watch it. And so after seeing the movie, I was like, yeah, this movie's message is kind of be yourself and don't care what people think. So I was talking about, yeah, that's a great movie. And I remember it was like kids at school all made fun of me for watching it. And yet, like, all the guys on my baseball team were like, oh, it was a great movie.
I still watch Disney Channel, so it's this territory that I'm in now is, yeah, I feel you on that. It's really tough. But
what's good on Disney Channel now, Chad?
Nothing is good.
I only watch it.
I only watch it. I flip through like the TV guide to see if there are any Disney Channel original movies that come on during it, and I've caught a couple of shows here and there, but they're not as good. Like Dog with the Blog, like stuff like that. I think that was even a few years ago. There was one like Raven, a spinoff of
Raven's
That's So
Home.
Raven, Raven's Home. That just not as good as the original show. There was one called Girl Meets World, I believe. The spinoff of Boy Meets World. Yeah. Boy Meets World, great show. Girl Meets World, not as good. So yeah, Disney Channel is not the same. Unfortunately, the kids now did not grow up with the luxuries that we had from Disney Channel. So
yeah. Well, this was back in the heyday. This is the best. I think we're all in agreement here. Guys, Thank you all so much for joining me. This was so much fun. I'm glad to have some company in quarantine and to be able to talk about a DCOM classic. Hopefully the audience enjoys it. We can do another one of these. We can do High School Musical 2. I don't know if we'll do it during quarantine, but maybe later this year. We could get to that if this is a well-received episode.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
yes,
Yeah,
thank you
thanks
for having
so much.
us.
lastly, I'm going to go one by one. I'll start with you, Astrid. What are you working on right now in terms of the articles you're writing, anything of that nature in terms of journalism people should check out? And how can they find you? Would you want to plug Twitter or Instagram?
So actually right now I was doing an internship. It actually got canceled for the rest of the semester because of the coronavirus, but I was working with Seacrest Studios at Children's Health. And I don't have anything, I can't really share that work unless it's through a personalized video that I send to specific employers due to
Cameo.
the... Yeah, true.
Because of, like, HIPAA.
Cameo it. But can't share with anyone because of just the Privacy Act for the hospitals. But basically for Seacrest Studios, I was like, had my own show on Fridays, and that was like on every TV, on every campus for children's medical. And so that's what I've been doing recently, and that's what I was doing. But because of coronavirus, I'm not allowed to go back to the hospital. So it's kind of sad, but Strid Sports Skills, that was the name of my show, will remain strong forever. We'll try to revive her eventually. And when I do, I'll plug myself in. But for now, just doing that, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Chad, how about you?
Yes, my podcast was temporarily
This is so sad.
It is, yes. I mean, because the basketball season interfered with my podcast. It's called The Cheap Seats, and you can find it on Apple Podcasts. But so literally this week right now, it's Wednesday, right? So right now, at the time that we were recording this podcast would have been my first welcoming back episode of The Cheap Seats. But we have not recorded one because the basketball season interfered with our shows. And so because of the virus, I have no idea when the next podcast episode will be on of The Cheap Seats. But and then when we do have a new show, Jack, we'd love to have you as a guest. And so, yeah, but that's pretty much what we're working on right now. Other than that,
I accept that offer, Chad. I'll be there.
Well, thank you. Yes. Other than, and that's pretty much all I'm doing right now. And then just looking for internships and looking to get into some type of broadcast of some sort. But yes, always open to new ideas and great things, like especially like your show. So, because I'm a big fan of the Jack Vita's show. So
sweet. Yeah, maybe we'll do another one of these during quarantine. How about you, Laura?
You can check out my Twitter at LauraVita10 and my Instagram LAWRUHH Laura to keep up with me. You know, like we got a lot of big things planned for this next few weeks of quarantine. Just kidding. But yeah, follow me.
Guys, this was so much fun. Thank you so much to all of you for joining me. Wow. And just like that, we are finished recording today's episode. So great to have had these wonderful guests join me today. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs along the way. Thank you to everyone who stuck with us for the whole ride. It was an hour 40. Hope you enjoyed it very much. I sure did enjoy recording it. We'll see what comes out next week in terms of podcasts. I do have an NL East preview that I recorded with Jordan Morandini last week, but it sounds like it may be a while until baseball season starts up, so I may save that one for a little while. We'll see. But be on the lookout. Subscribe to the Jack Vita Show. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook page at Jack Vita Show. That way you can keep up with all the latest coming up with this podcast. I hope to have plenty more episodes for everybody during this quarantine. There may not be sports, but we're going to make it work. We're going to have fun. We're going to stay positive. Never thought I'd get to talking about High School Musical, but it happened. And hey, that was a positive that came out of quarantine, social distancing business from this outbreak. So keep your head up high. Keep trusting the Lord. Everything's going to be good. And you will have another episode of the Jack Vita Show coming up soon. and I will post on social media about what it is. If you're subscribed to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Stitcher, wherever it is that you get your podcast, you will be aware of whatever that episode is. So you don't want to miss out. And if you could leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, that will do us a lot of good. We have had so many ratings coming in over the last couple of weeks, and it's given us a nice boost on the Apple Podcast algorithm. So you're doing so much help. I appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, I'm Jack Vita. Bring in the Dance of the Lobsters.